This is my friend Charles. Charles is a proud owner of a 2003 Toyota MR2 or MRS or ZZW30, whatever you want to call it, with a 2ZZ GE engine swap. Charles one day aspires to have a Lotus Elise. However, I tell him all the time that he should just hold on to what he has and cherish it. Hello, we're in Churbles. His name's Charles, but I call him Churbles. Charles Churglis, a myriad of idiotic things, and we're in your 2003
MR2.
2003 MR2, but it has a 2ZZ FE swap. So Charles is definitely one of the poors, and we're in the poor man's Lotus, as most would call it. You ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Slightly offended, but ready.
Only slightly, yeah. Trigger's friend.
Video's over.
Yeah, video's fucking over. Could have been sensible. You could have gotten a Miata, Charles.
I'm glad I didn't.
Away we go! Sounds good. Power delivery is exactly what you would expect from a momentum car, as in you really got to let it build, but the engine breathes really nicely up top because you have Toyota VTEC.
Yep. VVTLI or something.
VVTI, I think. Wait, variable valve timing intelligence.
Yeah, maybe there's no L.
What, lift I?
Yeah.
Anyways,
it's VTEC.
Take a while, but it gets there eventually. And brakes, ooh, brakes work. Yeah. All right. So heel towing is really, really nice because the pedals are like this far apart from each other. I did. I drove my first Elise the other couple months ago, and I came barreling in that corner, forgetting that I'm driving an engine behind me. An engine is driving behind me, I should say, rather. And yeah, I forget that your brain has to totally recalibrate on how to drive this car, because Charles is used to Audis. He's driven, the past two of his cars have been Audis, all-wheel drive. Engine over the front heavy pigs, and this is opposite, like opposite of what it is. Come in, do a little left foot brake here. She just sticks, dude. I gotta take it out a lot faster, by the way.
You really can.
Oh my gosh. It is one of the best handling cars I've ever driven, if not one of probably the best handling car I've driven. Oh shit. Dude, it just
go wherever you want it to.
Well, Charles' car is not stock. Let's just say that. It's pretty decently modded.
The main things that have been done to it are just V3 Coilovers, BF Goodrich rival S1.5s, so sticky tires, RPF ones,
some kind of sway bars in the front and rear,
yeah,
right?
Front and rear sway bars. Those are like the main things. And the only thing that I really want to do additional is a 6-speed swap and a roll bar so I can put it on the track.
6-speed also because it has an LSD. This car is open differential and it is very apparent.
Yeah.
Little slip. If we had an LSD, we would have been a little sideways there.
I think it was more because of gravel there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We would have been able to hold the drift, I guess. You've drifted in this, right?
I mean, unintentionally.
Unintentionally. You can get it. It's not so much drifting. It's more so that the ass end is
You're
the
powering
weight
out of
is
the corner,
the weight is
and it
just
just
shifting.
happens.
Yeah, exactly. So that's not really drifting. It's just more like I'm just gonna power slide out of this.
You don't really drift with 150 maybe torque.
Yeah, exactly. You just don't.
You need some speed
doesn't
to help
happen.
you.
It's awful. Rotation is right here on center. Just a brilliant little car, man. So that is Charles's MR. I keep calling it MRS because that's what it is in Forzas and Gran Turismos and in Japan, right? Instead of MR2, which I like to just call this an MRS because it's a Spyder.
I'll call it an MRS as soon as I put a 6-speed LSD in it. Then I'll call it an MRS.
That's fair. That's fair.
Until then, it's an MR2 Spyder.
Very JDM. Well, dude, I appreciate you letting me thrash your car as always, as you always do. But yeah, let's go put this on the tier list.
I'm going to start off this review by saying that I stand by my initial impression of this is the best handling car I've driven to date. Charles's MR2 is the perfect car to cruise around in and go to the racetrack without breaking the bank. I'd wager you could pass a lot of cars on the track that have twice the horsepower, if not triple. Speaking of horsepower, this midship runabout has the 2ZZ GE as we've stated before, and that's probably one of the reasons why you're here, because you're curious about this swap. Supposedly it's putting out 180 horsepower, 150 foot-pounds of torque. That's up from 117 horsepower, all while retaining AC. That's all thanks to the monkey wrench swap kit. Charles was also right. The engine is a VVT-Li, which is Toyota's VTEC, or variable valve lift intelligence. All it is just a dual camshaft profile change after a certain amount of RPM. I'm not quite sure where, however, whenever it hits really well, and it's very reminiscent of VTEC, and I love that. This engine begs you to wail on it. This car is supposedly going from a quarter-mile time of the low 15 seconds for the stock motor to a mid to high 13-second car, which is actually not bad at all for all motor. The car is a super lightweight, right under 2,200 pounds. Your 0 to 60 is in around 5.5 seconds, and that's from about 7.5 seconds. 8,000 RPM redline is ideal to me, and this engine will happily pull all the way there. With this little guy weighing under 2,200 pounds, Charles has upgraded the brakes to G-loc R6 brake pads, stock centric rotors, and that's plenty to stop this guy. You can feel your sinuses hitting the front of your skull whenever you get deep into those brakes. The shifting is very notchy and direct. It's wonderful with those shifter bushings and short shifter from Monkey Wrench. Heel towing in this car is an absolute blast as well. How this car achieves such amazing handling is Charles and I both put on the V3 Coilovers one weekend, and he also outfitted the car with 15-inch RPF ones along with BF Goodrich Rival S 1.5s. The awesome thing about this car is the limits are so high for handling, I didn't even get to touch those. There is no understeer, nor is there oversteer. It's just exactly where you want it to go, turn in there, and just pin the throttle. It's really hard to grasp going from front engine rear-wheel drive cars to this mid-engine rear-wheel drive car, how to drive it, because it's such a different driving experience. You're literally driving a street legal go-kart. With the lightweight paired with the suspension setup and the tires, this car pulls well over a lateral G-force in the corners. Onto what tier I'm going to place this car in. Whenever I had my ND Miata, Charles and I would race, and the ND Miata with a tune would pull only a little bit on him. Otherwise, that's all that car really had over this car, so I must put this car into A tier in front of the Miata. Gonna do some shuffling here, hold on. And there you are. The MR2 is firmly cemented as the top A tier car right now. I told Charles if he were to have more power in this car, then it would go immediately into God tier. It would absolutely fare well in X tier with just a little bit more power, and also maybe some aero to pair with that. Do some research, watch some YouTube videos. There's guys with these cars with crazy builds that are absolutely destroying people on the track. Charles aspires to be there as long as he doesn't sell it for a Lotus, and I tell him he needs to keep this car and make it a track weapon. I can't wait until Charles has a roll bar in this car so he could actually take it to a track night with me, because let me tell you, in autocrosses he absolutely destroys my portly M2. Speaking of tracks, I know this is very premature, but I did start a Patreon. Link is in the description. What this is going to do is allow me to have access to the local racetrack where I could actually bring along cars to review for your viewing pleasure. I'll be able to get you actual data of how cars do on the track and have a time list. Thank you so much for your support in advance. And please, if you've made it this far, please subscribe. Please like this video. Be safe out there. Watch out for others. And of course, incoming exhaust check. Headphone users, you might want to turn it down a little bit, but enjoy.